Look, AI is completely changing the game for industries everywhere. I mean, it's a total transformation. But, and this is a big but, as it gets more and more woven into how businesses run, there's this new shadow, these hidden security dangers that could literally threaten a company's entire existence. So let's get into it and figure out what every leader absolutely needs to understand right now.
You know, AI is really a classic double-edged sword. On one side, you've got these incredible opportunities. We're talking smart manufacturing, precision medicine, totally revamping how we handle financial risk. But then you flip it over, and there's this whole new world of risks. Things like data poisoning, model manipulation, and the theft of your most valuable IP. It's the ultimate high-risk, high-reward situation.
And you better believe the stakes are incredibly high. I mean, this quote from McKinsey just nails it. Getting AI security right, it's not just some tech problem for the IT department. Nope, it's fundamental. It's about keeping your customers' trust and making sure your business can actually, operate day to day without some major disruption.
So yeah, that really is the billion-dollar question, isn't it? How do you grab all that amazing power AI offers without leaving yourself wide open to these brand new, super sophisticated threats? Well, it all starts with having a clear, structured game plan. And here it is. This is the solution, a 4-layer defense framework. I want you to think of this as your blueprint, your roadmap for locking down your entire AI system piece by piece, layer by layer. We're going to walk through each one, and we're starting at the absolute foundation, the data.
Okay, layer 1 data defense. Look, everything in AI, it all comes back to the data. Data is the fuel. It's what the AI learns from. So it just makes sense, right? Our very first line of defense has to be all about protecting that data.
The biggest threat we're worried about here is something called data poisoning, and it's exactly as sinister as it sounds. This is when an attacker deliberately sneaks bad or malicious info into the AI's training data. And get this, their goal isn't just to make the AI spit out one wrong answer. The goal is to corrupt its entire education right from the start, making it fundamentally broken and unreliable.
This analogy just perfectly explains it. Think about it. You're baking a cake. You've got the best ingredients, you're following the recipe perfectly, but someone has secretly snuck in and mixed salt into your flour. It doesn't matter what else you do, right? The cake is ruined from the inside out. That is exactly what data poisoning does to an AI model.
And the fallout from this is, well, it's pretty severe. We're not just talking about the model getting things wrong more often. It can actually create hidden backdoors for attackers. It can make the AI completely bypass your security controls. And if you want a real-world example, just look at Microsoft's Tay chatbot. Users poisoned it by teaching it all sorts of racist, horrible things. Microsoft had to pull the plug in less than 24 hours. A total disaster.
All right, so once we've got our data locked down, we move up to the next layer, the model itself. This is the brain of the whole operation. It's where all that learning from the data gets stored, and it's where the actual decisions are made.
Now, the main threat to the model is something called an adversarial attack. And it's a fascinating and really sneaky tactic. What an attacker does is make these tiny changes to the data that's being fed into a fully trained model. Changes a human would never even notice. But these tiny disturbances cause the AI to make a completely wrong and sometimes catastrophic decision.
And this analogy just brings the danger right into focus. Picture a self-driving car. It's driving along and it's approaching a stop sign. Now, an attacker has put a tiny, specially designed sticker on it. To you and me, it's obviously still a stop sign, but to the car's AI, that tiny little sticker makes it see a sign that says accelerate. I mean, you can just imagine the terrifying consequences.
Okay, so besides those adversarial attacks, there are 2 other big threats to the model. First, you've got model stealing, which is pretty much what it sounds like. Somebody steals your proprietary AI model, your company's secret sauce. But then there's model inversion, which is way more subtle, and honestly, maybe even more dangerous. This is where an attacker uses the model's public outputs to basically reverse engineer the sensitive private data it was trained on. So think about it. One steals your hard-earned R&D, the other steals your customer's private information.
All right, let's bring it home with our last 2 layers. These are all about how the AI actually connects with the outside world, the application it's running in, and the infrastructure holding it all up.
So, at the application layer, it's interesting. We see a mix of old school and brand new threats. You still have to worry about the traditional stuff, like SQL injection. That's basically tricking a database to give up secrets. But now we've also got these new AI-specific problems, like malicious prompt injection. This is where attackers fool large language models into breaking their own safety rules, maybe to generate harmful content or even leak confidential company data.
And finally, we have the infrastructure layer. This is the bedrock of everything. And we're not just talking about putting up a firewall and calling it a day. This has to be a holistic strategy. It means tough cloud and network security, yeah, but it also means vetting all your software suppliers, having strong controls for your own employees, and, this is so important, building up that expert AI security knowledge inside your own team. You really can't just outsource this whole responsibility.
So we've walked through the 4 technical layers: data, model, application, and infrastructure. But there's one last piece of the puzzle. It's something that cuts across every single one of those layers, and it's often the most unpredictable element of all.
And here it is. People are the weakest link in the security chain. You can have the most sophisticated, expensive, high-tech defenses in the entire world. But this old security saying, it has never been more true than it is right now. In the age of AI, one simple mistake by an employee who hasn't been trained, maybe they fall for a clever phishing email that ends up poisoning a dataset, can bring that entire fortress crumbling down.
And that brings us to the final and maybe the most important question. This whole thing, it's not just about technology. It's about your people and your processes. So when you look at this new landscape of risk, everything from data poisoning to prompt injection, you have to ask yourself, is my team really prepared for this new reality?